broadcasting from the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
It's the Solo Sci-Fi Podcast.
This is episode 73 of the Solo on Sci-Fi Podcast. I'm Mickey B, aka Co-Clud, on another show with my good friends talking about sci-fi and anything that's actually pretty good like that. This week I'm joined by author of the Timberwolf books, Mr. Tom Julian. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
Hello. And in UK, London, we have the runner of Martin's Sci-Fi Appeal, Martin Fowler. All right, Martin?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get past this,
What's happening is I've got this is usually daft. I was going to muck about with it because I've got a new microphone and it's just daft. So let's forget that. Let's go into a normal show. I'm Michael Ball. Nice to have you guys on the show. I noticed in the last few weeks that the mic has been really breaking up my end. So I've got a new mic this week. So hopefully when it comes out, it won't be breaking up. How are you both doing? You both all right?
Yeah, doing okay. I had tennis elbow, and it hurts like hell.
Oh, okay. I like tennis. I'm actually quite good at racket sports. I used to play, but I'm not at any good level. But I met my wife on a badminton court. I played tennis on the sun. We've even got a table tennis table. It's the only sport I quite like. Racket sports. That's the only sport I'm actually any good at. I used to like Wimbledon. I used to go. I went up there. I've actually been up to Centre Court once to watch that. I don't really follow it so much now, but Are you any good at it, Tom?
I'm aggressive and enthusiastic, but I don't know how good I am at tennis. I like to play a lot. It's great exercise.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Martin? Any interest in tennis, or is it just?
Yeah, definitely on the Nintendo. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I've got this game on the Wii, and it's very good. I know exactly what you mean on the games. They're actually quite good because you can hit them like it's reality, but of course it's not. So it's quite interesting what you can do.
I used to play cricket. I liked playing cricket years ago.
Oh, cool. Just before we go into our show, just to say, we are, this week I've got for you two, I've made my custom-made Co-Clud smiley faces. So I've got one for both of you there. So I'm going to send them to you when we get a chance. Just for that token. So I made that. I actually made it a while ago. Obviously, it's based on my channel logo. But I'm quite new at Tinkercad, which is how you do this stuff. But you can hang them on your sort of... car mirrors and stuff like that. It's a very silly thing, but you're both welcome to have one.
That's great. Did you 3D print that?
I did 3D print it. I designed it on Tinkercad.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
I like that.
It's the same face on both sides. I'm quite pleased that I made a few. I've already given some to my friends and family. But if I can have your addresses after we've done the show, then I'll be happy to send them over to you guys just to have a little token of thank you for what you've done on the show. So thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you for the ident you did for my channel as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, you broke up. But yeah, I did the Pearl and Dean thing. I'm glad. What was hard about it is that when he bangs the gong, the second gong is when you get the big original logo. So I had to have him banging the gong once, loop it with a fade out and fade in with a battle, but I kept the original sound. So the sound bongs twice in order, but the first when he's banging it, it's actually just repeated. Yeah. So then I could put the Martin Sci-Fi Appeal logo over it, and that's how I did it. So there we go. Bit of background stuff there, Tom, for Martin's channel. So if you haven't already checked out his channel, Martin Sci-Fi Appeal, I saw you talking about a film today, which I want to see with Donald Sutherland. Clint Eastwood, what was the film called again, Martin?
It's the greatest film ever made, Kelly's Heroes.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Thank you.
I've not seen it.
Love it.
I want to see that. I mean, it's science fiction.
It is the greatest film in the world.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to give that a watch.
100 times. Donald Sutherland as Oddball, he just makes that film. So, and the Clint Eastwood scene when they walk down that street and Oddball comes out of that door.
So what do What is before I see it? What is it that you like about it? Is it just well written? It's good characterization, or
It's a man film, and there's none of this like stuff in it. You know, like today, it's a man film, and they're on the front lines, and they go rob a bank in like behind enemy lines, and there's these great little like nuances of comedies, like there's this German guy in a tiger tank, and they can't get past him because he's protecting the bank. And when they tell him that the $16 million in there, it's like everything he believes in just goes down the top. The greed on his face is
it's great. It's a great movie. It's a great. It's a little counterculture, you know, to the.
Yes.
It's definitely like a manly film, as Martin said, but it's not like you know, the good guys are really, you know, their objective is to rob a bank and to close up World War II. It reminded me a little bit of that movie. Was that George Clooney movie where they're trying to rob the bank in Iraq?
Yeah, Three Kings or something.
Yeah.
I don't see that either.
Little of that. It's quirky, weird. You know, definitely real danger, but it's a fantastic movie.
All right.
So many
I'll give it a
people
watch.
at their you know, it's got Clint Eastwood, Telly Savalas, Don Rickles, Carol O'Connor, Donald's, everybody's in it, and it's hilarious too. There's like one great scene where they forget to put the real ammunition in, and they're up against these tanks, and they keep hitting them with these big giant paintballs or something. It's just really, really funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I like Telly Savalas. I saw he was in Capricorn 1 in a small role as this airplane pilot, and he was hilarious in that. And of course, Donald Sutherland was in one of my all-time favourite films of forever, which is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the '78 version. So yeah, if those two actors are in that, then I'm in. I'll check that out. And
it's like it's like a who's who of tough guys from the '70s.
You're not going to get a film like that anymore. It's a classic. Can I just thank Trek Fan for sharing all my videos?
I'd like to thank him as well. He's very supportive. He's often sending me links and messages. Trek Fan. We won't give his full name out without his permission, but he knows who he is. So Trek Fan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Right, are we ready for this Focus of the Week? An interesting one. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Here's the jingle. Let's go for the jingle. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi Focus
of the week.
All right, this is a film that you both talked to me about last week. I have not seen it, as I've not seen Mad Max films, and I reviewed it based on your recommendation. And that is, of course, Mad Max Fury Road, which is a 2015 Australian post-apocalyptic film, co-written, produced, and directed by George Miller, and obviously featured Tom Hardy. So I'd like to get both your perspectives first, because I've not seen it, and then I'll chime in. So shall we ask Tom this week, first of all, as you're the one that told us about it last week. What is it about the film that you really liked? Go for it.
So I loved it just because, you know, I was the one that recommended it. It is a Oscar-worthy 2-hour car chase. I love that the film is violent but also beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
The cinematography and the lighting and everything that's happening in the real practical stunts that are going on. It leaves you in awe just to watch it. And I sat down and watched it again with my son and said, Liam, I'm going to change your life. And I sat him down. He's a 12-year-old boy who wants to spend all his time playing video games, and his jaw was on the floor the whole time. He especially loved the Doof Warrior, which is that guy that plays the guitar. He's sort of like the
and he's chiming in. He's on the thing like that, and he's
he's sort of like the version of the drummer that drums you into battle. He's in the. It's insane. You know, I mean, the level of insanity in the film is just extraordinary.
Yeah, but I like that.
It takes it up to a different level. And even though it's got all those levels of visual weirdness and just action and everything, the things that are going on in the movie and the dialogue and some of the stuff is just so weird and over the top and unique. When those guys are saying, you know, I live, I die, I live again. George really put a lot of thought into like the mythology behind it, you know, and they're like when the guys know they're going to die, they like spray paint their face with chrome and jump and
Yeah, the spray. That was
yeah,
interesting.
it's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way to describe it beyond the fact that I think it's extremely unique, and way more engaging than I thought than the previous Mad Max films. Maybe because it's modern, maybe because the filmmaking is really reached the pinnacle. But I felt that the film was just extraordinary.
I mean, it's not a reboot; it is a continuation, isn't it? From what I understand.
Yeah.
That's
But ultimately, there's no. Well, there's
I mean,
a couple flashbacks that you really can't even tell what the hell's going on.
Yeah, there was like a child or something, and there was like a slide,
Yeah.
and it was like really, really quick changes and stuff like that. And I wonder whether I was missing out from something from the previous films. How big a gap was it from this one from the previous films? I assume that the others were with Mel Gibson in all three previous
I don't
ones.
know. It's got to be a bunch of years, at least 20 years, maybe more.
Last one was Thunderdome, and that was 80 something, wasn't it? Thunderdome, wasn't that?
Oh, so that's a
88,
big gap
89?
then. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
Then. Oh, I didn't realise that.
Thunderdome, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really big gap.
Yeah, I mean, let's ask you next, Martin, because you've obviously seen it before me. What did you think of it?
Mad Max, I like the concept of Mad Max, and the first two movies were quite cheaply done, but there were hits. And then when they made a lot of money and Mel Gibson's star were rising, they did Thunderdome, which I quite enjoy. Thunderdome, it's quite a good film. I preferred it to other two. But here's the king of the Road Warrior movies. The one thing that came.
I was going to say, Tom's just said that there's a 30-year gap apparently between this and Thunderdome. So that's a huge gap.
There's been loads of Road Warrior movies because of this series. What I loved about this film, when I saw it on a Blu-ray, I was a bit. Well, I thought, it's Tom Hardy in this, and within 10 minutes of the film, it were like I didn't even think about Mel Gibson at all. I just accepted Tom Hardy as Mad Max, and I just went with the film after that. And I loved the film. I loved everything about this movie, and I agree with Tom. The car scenes and him flying around with a guitar were just insane.
Yeah, it was good.
The other thing I liked was this, like that evil emperor where he would just give it peasants water. And did you see him on that walking thing that controlled that lift where they were all like, that were insane, that wasn't it? It were crazy.
It was.
I really do like this film. Yeah,
it was crazy. One thing I think is really interesting about it, that it's a Mad Max movie that isn't really about Mad Max. He's not the fundamental character.
He doesn't say anything about the first half an hour. He's got his finger across his face and he's chained up to a vehicle.
Yeah,
he doesn't hardly do anything. He's just like that. I like that, which I thought
he's
was quite
along for the
interesting.
ride. The real hero of the film is Furiosa. She is the lead.
Yeah, I liked her character. Yeah, you're right. It was more Furiosa.
She's the protagonist. He is sort of a co-protagonist. But
yeah, I agree.
He doesn't really have agency as far as moving the plot along. He's not there for his own purposes. He's there because he's being dragged along, literally, as a blood bag. Because it's.
I mean, one thing. I mean, like I said, I've not seen the previous film. So, do the previous films say exactly what happened for this post-apocalyptic world? Was there a nuclear war? How come it seems to be everything's a desert and it's just like the seeking water and gasoline? How come that was
in the first one? He's like a road warrior police officer. Society's bankrupt and it's all falling apart. And that little girl or not, he has a wife and child, and they get murdered. And the usual, the man with no name and he's got the past. And then second one, I think there's been a nuclear war.
Right. Okay.
And third one, then it's all post-apocalyptic. But it does start with society just falling apart.
But
He is a detective, police officer.
I mean, these are all set in Australia, like in the outback, I assume, somewhere like that. Do we hear anything about the rest of the world? Is it just mainly, or is it just literally just set in Australia in this world where it's basically high crime, everything's falling apart? A film doesn't really have to, I suppose.
The world's been levelled and people have formed like communities.
But that's not the focus. Yeah, that's not. That's what I'm saying.
You never
Okay.
find out society's falling in. It just is. It's like imagine our society just breaking down. We're all, like behaving, gone back to our tribal instincts. That's
Right.
really it.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
a
That's
biker
interesting.
gang in first movie. It takes on this biker gang.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things I liked about it. I like the way there's like these different kind of cults and tribes, almost like tribes of or sects, as it were, and they all have their own patches and their own territories. And of course, I did like it. It was very, like I said, I was surprised that Mad Max with Tom Hardy's character, he really was just in the background for the first half an hour, being tied up and sort of because he's captured very early on in the film. And it was this other female character who was the strongest character. But there was some very bizarre imagery. I mean, they had like all these very young brides, who a lot of them were like 16 or 15, quite young, in the main lorry, being sort of I don't know what they're called, just not queens, but they're the wives of the leader, weren't they, with a mask on and stuff like that. And then one of them dies. I liked. I mean, there's a lot to take in because it's very, very fast paced, and I did feel as I watched it, even though I think you both said that it's quite standalone, I did feel that in some ways I wish I'd seen the other films as a more of a basis of reference of how it compares, especially as Tom said that there's a big gap between the last one, Thunderdome. I did like it though. I like the fact it was very action packed. It was it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride, literally. I liked it. It was good. I like kind of car chase films kind of thing, where it's always moving, and it hardly stopped. It hardly stopped. But it's, like I said, very bizarre imagery. Like there's one scene where the leader has got this milk, which is breast milk from women and stuff like that. Oh, okay, that was a bit odd. Some odd stuff. Going back to the guy playing the guitar on the music and stuff, but yeah, I thought it was a good film. I'm glad I saw it. I think it's a film that I'd like to see again, because a lot happens in that 2 hours and it's a whole different world. And I don't know about you guys, but with most things I watch for the first time, I kind of like to take it in and then think about what it was, and then sometimes watch it again for a different perspective. But I did think it was good. But have you guys seen it a lot of times, or have you just seen it once, or is it a big sort of popular film for both of you?
I've seen it. I think I've only seen it. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I've seen it just once. It's one of them films I think I could just watch it once. I might give it another go, but when I first saw it, I was a bit apprehensive of seeing it actually, and then I picked it up and I watched it and I was just blown away.
Right.
I really was. I was surprised of where they took this. I think the premise for this film is totally insane. I really do.
Yeah.
They took a risk with something. I think they did a great job. And I'm surprised they haven't made a sequel to this yet. That must have been made, 4 or 5 years ago?
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
It's a 6-year-old movie now. Yeah.
And there's been no sequel.
No. So how about you, Tom? I mean, like I said, is it one of your favorites, or?
It instantly, as soon as I was seeing it, I think halfway into the movie, I was saying this is one of my all-time favorite things. Even halfway through it, I was like, this is fantastic. There is there's no comparison to this.
I get that.
But
I mean,
yeah, I've seen it. I haven't watched it a lot. I think I've seen it 2 or 3 times at the most. Once in the theater, maybe once here, and like off and on, like a little bit at a time. And then I sat down with my son and we rewatched the whole thing, and it was just amazing to see it through somebody else's eyes. About how.
I mean, I'm going to try to get my son to watch it. My son's only a year older than your son, so I'll have to ask him if he wants to try it out as well. I try to get him. He's a big Star Wars fan. He's not a Star Trek fan, so I've tried, but he doesn't get Star Trek at all. He says that I used to try and get him to watch it when he was very young, and he's just no. But I was going to say, it was a very, very good film. But did it do well in the box office? Do we know whether it was quite a successful film?
I think it was. There is a potential plan for a sequel, or prequel actually, called
a prequel. Okay.
Furiosa, about the Charlize Theron character. I don't think she would be playing it. They cast Anna Taylor, not Taylor Green. What is her last name? Anna Taylor-Joy.
I don't
What's her
know.
name?
Apparently,
Anya Taylor-Joy.
apparently, Charlize Theron, she didn't get on with Tom Hardy. Apparently,
Oh, really?
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
okay.
yeah.
didn't know
I
that.
remember there was quite a bit of news about it at the time. I remember reading bits that they just didn't get on. But
Huh.
they were meant to be making a sequel with character Fiona also. Then there was rumours of that they were going to make a film about her. You know, it was 6 years ago. Nothing came of it.
It's strange, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Go on, Tom.
I do think it's on the way. I know that Charlize Theron was very upset that she was not cast as the in the prequel, and they wanted to go with somebody a lot younger. But as far as I heard, it's still on its way. But I don't know too much of the specifics. You know, things end up in development hell, and with everything going on, you can imagine that it's hard to get something off the ground.
Yeah, as I say, it's strange how things sometimes work out. You know, you can have a successful film, but for some reason it doesn't sort of catch on for people to make a sequel. So it's, I hope they do make something else from this, because I think there's a lot there. But like I said, I do like sometimes a film where it's just pure action. There's not a lot of just like this situation, and yeah, it was really good. So any other sort of similar films you'd recommend, which you would like, which if you like this film?
One thing I do want to mention that you just said that it was a pure action movie, but it was surprisingly a well-developed world with all the things going on in it, that they managed to build the world and do it with a background of explosions and car chases at the same time. Was really, really, really skillful. I felt, because if you think about it, most of the movie is within moving vehicles.
That's right.
It's not like, you know what I mean? Much more than half of it, at least 3/4 of the movie, they're in trucks that are moving, or cars, or whatever. And during that period, they're building the world around it, whether it's the ideas of the weird theology that those war boys have, or whatever, and their allegiance to Joe and all this kind of stuff. It was done so well as far as putting it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. So any other films you recommend, like similar to this, or do you think it's unique in either of you? I'm trying to think of other films that I've seen. Like I said, I like films where vehicles are prominent. Examples for me are films like, these are older films, like Christine, The Car was another one, and of course Duel, which I mentioned last week. But there are a lot of road movies.
Don't forget Killdozer.
Yeah, Killdozer. Oh God. And Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, superb film.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? So it's for car fans.
There's a film I'm dying to see. It's not about cars though. But the idea of a man kind of like pushed. There's a movie called Nobody, which just came out like a couple of weeks ago. It's by the guy that did John Wick. It's sort of the same kind of concept.
I like John Wick. John Wick was very good.
I've not seen John Wick yet.
No, it's very good. Keanu Reeves. It's very good. I only saw it last year for the first time. They made about 2 or 3 sequels, of which I've not seen. Right. But the first John Wick is very good. Highly recommended. Do you like it?
I'll check these out. There, I'll check them out.
Yeah, I recommend.
Those flip the script as from like there being an action movie that's occasional action to being a movie that's all action with occasional dialogue, which is really cool. Another movie that sort of fits the mold of just nothing but action. A Black Hawk Down to me is one of those sort of historical war movie, but it is very much like there's nothing but the action going on. And then there was a movie that came out actually last year starring Clint Eastwood's son called Outpost, which is set in Afghanistan. And these are typical war movies, but from the perspective of a visceral thrill, and feeling like bullets are whizzing by your head. Those two films really kind of you might consider those to be a triple feature of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Any other comments about it then, Martin? Like I said, now we've seen it.
I like post-apocalyptic movies. You know, it's because Mad Max, this series did open the doorway to loads of these in the 80s, like Cyborg with Van Damme. You know, there was one with John. There was a film with Don Johnson's now a cult movie, where he's got a telepathic dog and they're in a post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah.
And do these, like, seriously, Don Johnson's about 20 and it's a cult classic. Now I forgot what it's called, but he's like a scavenger. Another film which I'd love to review. I don't know if you agree with this, but have you seen Kevin Costner's The Postman?
I've got it. I've not seen it.
I have not seen it.
I do recommend should watch it. It is a fantastic film. It's set in a post-apocalyptic future. And I don't want to give you any spoilers. It's a epic watch.
All right.
It's like 3.5 hours long, but it goes somewhere. I love The Postman. It's an awesome movie. But like the Mad Max thing, though, what we've watched is so much faster. I mean, it's non-stop. But like the Postman,
I mean,
there's
another
more story with it, more background.
Another apocalyptic film, which is actually the opposite end of the scale, is Waterworld. Have you guys seen Waterworld? You must have seen Waterworld.
Oh,
yeah, I've seen it.
But that was all I remember. It was very, very slow. It was a very interesting concept where it was almost like, again, it was like scavenging, but they're all on the sea. There was no land mass. But I remember it was incredibly slow paced. So for me, that's like I said, it's in a similar premise, but of course it's based on water rather than dry land, but in the scavenging. But Waterworld, it just seemed to go on forever. I mean, this film I just saw, it was really fast paced.
I agree with you there. Waterworld, right?
One of the biggest box office flops in history with that.
Yeah, I remember I remember a lot of money got pumped into it, and it really did fail badly.
Wasn't Dennis Hopper in that?
He wasn't. He was the Immortan Joe character.
Yeah. The thing that had me laughing in that when I rented it out on video is when they got the oars out on an oil tanker. They got oars out and started an oil tanker.
All right, Martin, you're really breaking up at the moment. Tom, can you hear Martin?
All right, yeah.
Was he?
He had a great joke there, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah, can you say it again?
When Dennis Hopper gets the oil tanker moving and they get oars out on an oil tanker, they've got these big oars that come out and they're rowing an oil tanker across the ocean.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious. That was a really good moment. It was good moment.
I think my, and this isn't sci-fi, and I keep mentioning it because I love this film so much, but my favorite car chase film, which isn't sci-fi, is of course, I just love it. I've seen it so many times, which is Dennis Hopper. And no, it wasn't Dennis Hopper, it was Dennis Weaver, I think. Who was it in Duel? Was it Dennis Weaver?
Dennis Weaver, I think.
Yeah, Dennis Weaver. Yeah, but that was my all-time favorite film with just this guy trying to get to a business meeting, and this guy on a truck who he inadvertently pisses him off. And it was Steven Spielberg's first film, and it was made a year before I was born in 1971. And I still see that. I see it probably once every couple of years. It's just so good. The whole thing, the music and the way it's filmed. I do like car chase films. I do. I still want to try the Fast and the Furious. Actually, I want to give those a go. At least the first one, because I've
seen all them.
Are they worth watching? Are they worth watching?
Yeah, for the sheer entertainment, because they've now gone down completely down the science fiction path.
Oh, okay. So
they're going bananas.
One of them I saw, a nuclear submarine was chasing the cars across the lake. Like, I'm not making it up.
So we could then feature one on the podcast at some point.
Because by this time you've got a super villain in it who will dominate. It's just don't take these films seriously. It's over hyper man machismo bullshit. But they're great fun to watch. Apparently, the next one they're doing one that's going to be set in space or something.
I haven't seen them, but it's one of those things that I might just have to break down and watch them all.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. Saturday night, and if you're in Saturday night, put your feet up and bang one on.
Yeah.
You know, they're good fun. Just that's what they are.
Yeah,
Good,
I don't mind that.
A great car chase movie is called. Ever seen the movie called Baby Driver?
No, Baby
No,
Driver,
That's a good one. That's a really, really good one. Edgar Wright made that movie. He's just a genius.
Really? Edgar
Yep.
Wright?
Yeah.
Okay, who's in that one? Anybody famous in that film?
Yeah, a lot of people. So it's got what's his name is in that? Oh God, Ansel Elgort, John Hamm, Lily James. A bunch of people are in that one. Directed by Jamie Foxx, Kevin Spacey. It's a pretty interesting flick. It's almost a musical, because it's car chases choreographed to the music that's playing at the time. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Highly suggest it. It's a fun film that really moves quickly. I thought it was really neat.
Nice
One of the best car chase sequences I've ever seen is The Italian Job with Michael Caine.
Oh yeah, that's a good
With
film.
the-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really good. Did that get remade quite recently? The Italian Job.
I think so with Donald Sutherland.
Oh, was it back to Donald
From
Sutherland
Ice
again?
Age.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know it got remade
He played Mr. Bridget. I think they made two of them. Wasn't it
because
Mark Wahlberg?
they featured the modern minis, didn't they? And of course, the original Italian Job had the original
Yeah.
minis. So that's how I remember that. So, well, listen, guys, thank you for reviewing that. I think we've just about covered it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. Thank you, Tom, for suggesting it. And that's what I like about this show. We're sort of learning films together to share and discuss. Yeah, I think it definitely was worth the watch. And thanks again, guys, for recommending it. At that point, I think we should go. Not that as well, I've got a bit of news, so we'll do into it. Let's go into the jingle and see how it goes from there.
Solar Sci-Fi.
All right, okay, guys. We're going to quickly say that we've had a technical error. I've not been really quite feeling it, so as you can probably tell from that awful intro, when I was trying to be funny, it just fell flat. And unfortunately, Tom is now gone. So we'll just very quickly say that we didn't have a lot of news. A couple of things about Star Wars coming up, potential new Han Solo film. There's a new version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which might be interesting. We talked about a few things. So, sorry, Martin, I know you're still there with me, but I messed up, mate. What do you say about that? I messed up. It's a blooper.
You mean you fucked up?
Yeah, but that's true. We did, basically. So Tom has gone on his way, but we did have a ton of news. I mean, again, it's still quite quiet. But it's one thing we did forget.
As punishment for this.
Oh,
you
God.
have to sit in your house tonight and listen to him to the Stargate song all night long on a loop.
On repeat. I'm not putting that on this show. I'm not going to put it on this week again. Honestly, I mean, my God, my channel's going to get scrapped if that guy again with his. No, we're going to finish with Marvin the Paranoid Robot singing one of his depressed songs, where the actor that played him did that. But yeah, just to quickly say, there wasn't a ton of news. Again, everything's being made in production, but it's a bit of a lull until we can really delve into stuff. But Martin enjoyed the Bad Batch. I know you quickly talked about that.
I'm enjoying Bad Batch. I'm looking forward to the Tomorrow War. Loki's next month. Well, it actually is next. I think Loki will be on a Wednesday.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not showing it Friday. They're showing it on Wednesday. So look, we've got the podcast and Loki. We could even talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, and you quickly said that we saw the Eternals, the new Marvel film, and apparently that's not gone down very well. That's a shame. But yeah, and so we're just sort of discussing in a couple of weeks. We're going to see what's that film on Mars you said about?
I think you should watch it. You'll really enjoy it. John Carter of Mars.
John Carter of Mars.
He's older than Flash Gordon. He was a big character back in the 30s in Victor. He's like one of them Victorian type superheroes, and he's like this dude that ends up on this planet full of magic and science and that.
Right, but also
and he's
before
trying to
that,
get back to Earth. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And one film which we should review as well is the original Predator film, because we used to feature Predator versus in quite a few of our early shows. So I think we should have a big.
Definitely.
I think next week we'll do that, and then I'll try and, like I said, I'll try and find out this other film for the week after, and then we've got loads of shows to delve into. So sorry guys, I've not been quite with it today. I don't know why. I mean, my head feels really fuzzy today. I just don't feel quite right today. I don't feel ill. I just don't feel like I've quite got into the zone tonight. I don't know why. So there we go.
No,
so sorry guys.
You feel upset.
All right, we'll catch you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. We'll leave you with Marvin. Live long and prosper. Cheers.
Yes, live long and prosper.
I'm just a robot and I know my place. A metal servant to the human race. I work my can off trying to satisfy. I know they'll disconnect me by and by. Chip on my shoulder made of silicon. My printed circuits like a lexicon. 10 billion logic functions, maybe more. They make me pick the paper off the floor. Solitary, solenoid, terminally paranoid Marvin. Know what really makes me mad? They clean me with a Brillo pad. A car wash wouldn't be so bad. Life, don't talk to me about life. I'm so depressed I could expectorate. My moving parts are in a solid state. I want to rust in peace, switch off and lie in that great junkyard in the sky. Solitary, solenoid, terminally paranoid Marvin. Nothing left to be enjoyed, every diode rheumatoid Marvin. Outer alloy, inner void Marvin. Happiness has been destroyed.